from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're viewing us here live in Port Muscara, Tobago. My name is Dwayne Nurse, your favorite youth host, and I am here to bring you with a guest co-host this morning, the Youthful Vibe Smack Center in the middle of the week. So yes, this is Youth Wednesdays, guys, and I want to send a special good morning to all our ardent viewers who are viewing us wherever in the world you're viewing us, on whatever platform, on whatever device. On 102, on AMPLIA, your YouTube, Facebook, Android, BlackBerry, Apple. Good morning and welcome, and I'm joined with this morning.
Good morning, Tobago. I am Renessa Ortiz, your co-host for this morning. It's such a pleasure to be here, and we have so much things in store for you here this morning at Tobago Updates.
Welcome to Tobago Updates on Youth Wednesdays, Miss Ortiz.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Isn't she gorgeous, guys? I mean, I couldn't be at a better place this morning. I couldn't have a better co-host this morning. And for our co-hosts who could not make it this morning, a special good morning goes out to Miss Natalia Nancis. I know you're quite busy, with work and so on, and you probably need some rest, but catch up on that rest. And a special good morning to you, Miss Balgobin. And also a special good morning to Biana. Love hear from us. I will call you later just to make sure everything is everything. All right, we miss you very much, and a happy and prosperous day. So Miss Ortiz, all right, what has been happening in this space for you? I see a lot locally, I see a lot internationally. What's piqued your interest this week, if anything at all?
Actually, nothing has piqued my interest this week. I've been focusing on my business and work and just keeping myself occupied with things that are for my benefit.
Yeah. We had some brief discussions about that yesterday, so we look forward to see what will be coming out from that beautiful mind of yours. But I don't know if you got a chance to hear, but Parliament has been ramping up production lately. The new government. I think the last thing that was on the table for discussion was the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill. That has been causing a lot of brouhaha in this space. Whether or not one is targeted, or I learned a new legal term, ad hominem. So we have a lot of back and forth as it pertains to whether or not it is feasible to amend the bill so much so that it wouldn't target a particular outgoing prime minister that was prime minister just about a couple of weeks or months ago. But
and that new legal term that you learned, do you mind sharing with the audience what it means?
Yes, ad hominem basically means to not target. You put me on the spot, Miss.
Yes, you said you learned a new legal term, and I would like you to share it with the audience because I'm sure there are a lot of people who also do not understand what that means.
You could fact check me, guys. I am not a legal practitioner, but ad hominem seems to mean that you're doing something to target a particular person for whatever reason, right? So we heard a lot of case law in Parliament. Quite interestingly, the opposition is made up of a lot of lawyers. So you're gonna get that as well. And it seems to be that the whole Parliament is just made up of lawyers, But yes, so that was quite interesting this week. Internationally, though, I heard that the trade war between the United States and China has ceased.
Well, that's good news.
That's extravagant
That's very good news.
Extravagant news. So that means, things can go back to some semblance of normalcy in the global economic space.
Exactly.
I look forward to that. I also saw that, I think a couple of days ago, Iran and Israel had some ceasefire, a lot of brouhaha with that as well. But a lot happening in this space.
A lot has been happening.
Yeah, and we're just for those locally here, those students who have done exams, there is C exams, there's CSEC and CAPE coming out soon. So I look forward to hear, what the results nationally is and locally. And, congratulations in advance to all our examiners, those who start exams at those various levels.
And I know they are very thrilled to see what their results would be. Some are anxious, some are excited, some are just waiting to see what is the outcome. The parents are also waiting as well, because they know the work that they would have put in leading up to the exams.
Yeah, I remember those days. I wish not to relive them. Right? But yes, so we have quite a packed rundown for people this morning.
We do.
Right? We want to go straight over to our birthdays this morning, and let me just pull up the celebrants. We want to give special birthday greetings. You want to do this one? This is Mr. Horace Nelson. Mr. Nelson, a happy birthday goes out to you from us on Youth Wednesdays and the wider Tobago Updates team. And last but certainly not least, I'm sure you know who this is.
Our Honorable Chief Secretary, Mr. Farley Augustine, happy birthday to you.
Happy belated birthday. He celebrated his birthday yesterday. I hope you share the cake and the ice cream with all of Tobago. A slice would do us just right. So happy birthday goes out to you, and we wish you many more years. So that's it for our birthday celebrants this morning. For those of you who did not make it on our list, we want to still wish you a happy birthday, and don't feel free to drop by and give us a slice of cake. You could do 2 slices. What is your favorite kind of cake?
Chocolate cake, or even red velvet.
Or red, I'll take the red velvet. But yes, we're gonna go straight over to our rundown this morning, and we have quite an interesting rundown for you. You want to help me with this?
So this morning we have Miss Alana Allen. She's here speaking about budget rehab, the launch of a new book. We also have Miss Aisha Mcnite. She's going to speak to us about AI and sustainability with AI in the Caribbean. And last but not least, we also have Miss Kadisha Thomas, resident actors coach, who has won the award for Caribbean Posh Woman for Performing Arts of the Year.
All right. Quite a lot. It's woman packed this morning.
Yes, it is. Woman Crush Wednesday.
Yeah. Ooh, wow. A lot of W's this morning. But guys, we're going to take you guys for the win and with these ladies. But before we go and bring you these lovely interviews and this discussion, we want to tell you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But I forget to tell all you, it's with 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
You think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me ram my shit. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out the flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up, fling it up, fling it up high. Something and fling it up.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Tobago Updates Morning Show. It's Youth Wednesdays and we're going to introduce our first guest for this morning. It's Alana Allen and we're focusing on the budget rehab. Good morning, Alana Allen. Thank you for being with us. Hi, Alana.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
we
I'm
can.
hearing you.
Okay.
It's so good to have you on the show this morning. I know we've had meetings before this, and it's great to be here in this capacity this morning to talk about your budget rehab. We know you have life coach attached to your name and now author. So it's an honor to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. And I'm so happy to be here for our Youth Wednesday.
All right. Certainly no stranger to us. So this morning we are here to discuss the release of your book. Is this perchance your first book?
Yes, it is. It's my first book, and I am so excited to share it with you guys.
Congratulations, Alana.
Congratulations. So, what inspired you to get into this? And before you get into that, we may know who you are and what you have done in the space of Trinidad and Tobago, but just for the viewership, just tell them who you are, what you do, and what brought you to this point.
I think I'm a jack of all trades, but essentially my background is really and truly people development, helping people to evolve. I would have started my journey within the finance sector, working hand in hand with persons to help build their financial plans. And coming out of that, I transitioned into teaching economics. So, for those of you who are unaware, I have a master's degree with distinction in economics and also marketing. So now that I am at this point in my life where I would have tread a path where working intimately with people, especially with their finances, at one point, and then transitioning into teaching and working with students and seeing how little they know about money and how to manage their affairs, that really catapulted me into what I'm doing now, which is to helping persons evolve. And for those of you, me evolving or me helping persons to evolve means that I hold true, to my belief that I want to help people make money, manage money, look good, and feel good. And under the umbrella of obviously making money and managing money, you're seeing me really holding true to my vision with this book, The Budget Rehab Playbook.
Thank you so much. And we have here in studio our very own copy of the Budget Rehab book. So I'm just going to give the audience a view of what the book is like. So here we have it, The Budget Rehab. And it focuses on your ultimate 4-step guide to reclaim your finances and create a budget that works for you. So Alana, and just going off of the top of what you just said in terms of evolving, it's really important that we are also evolving in our financial pursuits as well. So you speak openly about overcoming financial abuse and being a single mom. How did those experiences influence your approach to financial literacy?
I think it made my approach relatable. If you look at the population of Tobago, about 75% of all households are actually made up of single mothers, right? And even when you look at financial abuse, guys, I have been working with people and their money for a long time. And even just sitting in spaces with my friends and me personally, you're seeing the influence where friends take advantage of you financially. There are family members who might pressure you unfairly into paying bills. I had one time somebody met with me and he was at the brink of breaking down because he was at the point where he wanted to establish his life, get married, do this, do that, but he couldn't because he had a lot of bills that didn't belong to him. He was paying loans for other people, co-signing. He had hire purchase agreements with courts. And I'm like, why did you put yourself in this position? And he was like, Miss Allen, everybody sees me as the savior of the family, and there's an expectation for me to take care of everything. And when I don't do that, the abuse happen. They tell me I'm better than everybody else and stuff like that. And when I sat down and I reflected, it's something that is very prevalent in our society. A lot of people are bullied, right? Especially if you're too nice, they're bullied into taking care of other persons and their financial burdens. So it's something that I really want to touch on because it hit home for me, right? I have experienced that within my social circles. And it's something that I wanted to highlight, especially to young people. You want to keep up with the crowd, you want to fit in, but to what extent are you going to do that?
Mm. All right. It's interesting that you would have brought up such a personal experience that hinges on what we would call emotions and so on. And in your book, you highlighted money EQ versus money IQ. What is the correlation to that? And how does it inform financial decision making as it pertains to money, especially in that circumstance that you just brought up? Because believe it or not, many persons are might be might relate to that. You did guilt tripping and so on. So just share with us money EQ versus money IQ.
I'm laughing because that is an excellent question. Now, what I've realized in working with people and through all the research that I would have done is not that people don't know that they should be doing better with their money. It's not that people don't know that they shouldn't be budgeting. Yet we don't do it. Yet we still find ourselves in financial difficulty. I found myself in financial difficulty, and it's not because I didn't know better. So one of the things that make my book stand out is because I focus on your emotional quotient, and I also focus on your intelligence quotient. And to just break that down in simple terms, I don't just give you the theoretical underpinnings of how to do well with your money. I don't teach theory, but I also go very deep into your psyche for you to understand why do you do what you do. Because I've realized that most of the spending that people do, most of your financial decisions are usually based on emotions, based on how you feel and the pressures around you. So if you can address what are your triggers, then that is more of a rehabilitative approach to helping you do better with your money rather than just saying, here, just budget.
And that's such an interesting take because as a female myself, there are times you would go online, you see a pretty dress, it's like, oh, this is pretty, I'm going to put it in my cart and I'm going to purchase it. But something that I've practiced over the past 3 or 4 years, I'll add it to carts and I'll leave it there and come back in the next 2 days. But the next 2 days, I no longer want that dress. So I'm happy that you mentioned the emotional side of spending. Now, on that leg, we're going to talk about now the fact that you mentioned the budget rehab is a playbook rather than a textbook. Can you tell us why you chose that approach?
I think that in life we need strategy. If you know me very well, excuse me, I'm a strategist, right? And hence life coach. We sit and we need to figure out the best way to get where we need to go. Now, when I came up with the idea of this book, it was pure theory, and with the help of a friend who is very much versed in helping to bring out the best of people in the area of literature. When we went through it, I realized that if I really want to meet our population and to give you all something that is differentiated from any other budgeting book, then I needed to create something that is nuanced to the Caribbean, that is relatable to us. So when I say it's a playbook, it is a 4-step approach to helping you to rehabilitate your finances. I go into the first chapter where we look at doing a a money detox, and we look at all the triggers from an emotional standpoint, even to the environment that you're in, even to your family background, your lineage, right? We talk about generational wealth versus generational poverty and how that influences the decisions that you're making. Then, once I'm able to do that, I go into my next step of our playbook, which is actually teaching you the basics of budgeting. Teach you in a very different way, because people think that just budgeting to spend, to see the best way to spend your money, where I reframe that for you to understand that you need to make the most out of your money. And I introduce you to my maximally multi approach to budgeting, right? The 4 M's of budgeting. And once we're done with that, I take you to rehab, which is the budget rehab. That's our third step. And I find that step to be quite powerful, because we do a bit of how you currently spend money. And I take you on a step by step journey of how to rebuild your budget in a more manageable way, and give you a lot of tips in terms of your income, how to manage your debt. And then finally, our last step of our plan, it teaches you how to make your budget work. Budgeting is not just building a plan, it's actually one step of a process. And I show you how it fits into the overall process of how to make your budget stick, how to make it stay, and the things that might pop up that might derail you from your budget. So a playbook is it's more powerful, because it gives you a tool that you can use for the rest of your life.
All right, thank you so much for that. I just saw a piece of your book, and I think the page before that spoke about confessions. And I'm certain that you are you're laughing already. I think you know where I'm going, but you had some confessions, and it kind of highlights that a lot of this book comes from your personal experience. And sometimes you mentioned that a lot of these books are based on heavy theory, but they're not very pragmatic in nature, right? What are some of, or if one experience at all that you could recall, that you could relate to everybody? Because people seem to think that budgeting means that you wouldn't fall into financial issues, right? But what is one experience that you seemingly brought out in your book that would give encouragement, to young persons, older persons, because money woes affect everybody?
I think one of the things that I really want to touch on is money and mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and how it impacts on your mental health and on every other aspect of your life. Guys, to be honest, I would have made my fair share of money mistakes, even if I would have had this glorious background that you've heard about. And at my very worst, when I think I hit rock bottom, it led to me falling into a very deep depression, because I could not handle my money, but all of the ramifications that come with that, right? It's not just being able to manage your bills, right? It's also the thoughts that you have, the fact that you feel stuck, the sleepless nights. I spoke about my book, putting tic-tac-toe or eeny, meeny, miny, mo with your bills, because you have so many obligations and this much money, and now having to figure out which one you're going to pay. And that impacts your mental health, the way that you show up in the world. And if I am here teaching people to become the best version of themselves, then guys, we need to talk about how money affects your mental health. And that is why this book, I think, is so powerful, because we even talk about that in the book. And I introduce you guys to actually 4 lifelines, right? And I think in anything that you do, you need lifelines. And one of that is knowing when to be able to speak to a professional, when to be able to ask for help, rather than suffering in silence, right? Money stress is the worst stress. And I say that in the book, and you all hear the kind of twang, the Tobago twang that I gave is the worst stress. one of the worst stresses that you could have. And if it is in some way we can help to alleviate that or put you on a better path, then I think that my job would have been accomplished.
All right. One other thing that stood out to me in your book is the fact that you would have used the colloquialism in your book. Why did you choose to use that tool, and of what benefit would it be to your readers?
When I say that I wrote this book for us, I was really, really, I'm really
There you go.
serious about it. It's very hard, especially within the Caribbean, to find books about personal finance that is nuanced to our culture, that understands the way that we think, that understands our historical past, right? So when I wrote this book, I want this book to be a book that people relate to. That's why I use my own experiences alongside the experiences that I would have seen from others. When I say that this book is something that I want people to read, take a look at the book and look at the presentation, from the font to the color to the worksheets to the design. That was all intentional because we don't like to read. Right, so when we were doing our research, people say that financial books, they are boring and they are not encouraging. So we had to spend a lot of time just designing a book as soon as you open it that you would want to read it. Then there's a whole notion of the jargon. It's too complicated, too many words. So I had to find a way to break it down in local parlance so that people could understand. And to add to that, I have two glossaries that is attached to the book. One that speaks to financial terms in case, just to help reinforce your understanding, and one that speaks to the local parlance. So if you can understand some of the terms that I use, like drop, right, just full bucket and crab in a barrel, and those type of terminologies that are synonymous to Trinidad and Tobago culture, listen, this book was made for you. It was made by us. And I think that it is something, especially young people, as we're here on the Youth Wednesday, that is something that you guys should to get your hands on.
Definitely.
And I really appreciate the fact that you use the Trinilingo, as they say. It really gives us here in Trinidad and Tobago the opportunity to feel represented in a financial book. And before we go, we just would like you to share with us the price for purchasing this playbook and where our viewers can get their hands on a copy.
Sure thing. So the price of the book is only $250, and it is easily available. It is available at Books and Office Supply, located at TLH Plaza or TLH Building in Scarborough. We are also doing nationwide delivery. So if you contact us at 787-8362, 787-8362, if you're not about going to Scarborough, no problem. We can bring the book to you. And of course, this book is also available on Amazon. So if you're looking on internationally, you just go onto Amazon, the Budget Rehab Playbook, and it's easily available. Just hit add to cart, right? Add to cart.
Thank you so much, Alana, for coming on to the Tobago Morning Show. It was a pleasure having you share your personal experiences and how you aim to evolve and impact the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, you want to thank you for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure. Continue doing the great work that you do. I would definitely get a copy of your book. I think we all need it, and I will ensure that somebody else gets it right after I'm done with it. All right, so thank you for joining us, guys. That was Miss Alana Allen sharing with us about her book titled The Budget Rehab Playbook. We're going to go for a short break, but before we do that, we have to tell them to do what?
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Hey goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up,
real bad girl get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up! It's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I have the cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing put there, me no know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driving? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people, them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance. Our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Shore Park Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirror Ball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louis, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios, and Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Shore Park Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're viewing us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, we are yet again at another interesting interview this morning, and we're going to be interviewing Miss Aisha Mcnite. Are you related to Brian? We'll talk about that after. Managing Director of Knights Analytics, and we're going to be focusing on her journey and her work and her participation in the UEFIC. I don't know how to pronounce that.
It's UE5.
5. Okay, yes. Good. So, welcome to Youth Wednesdays. It's a pleasure. It's my first time seeing you.
It's my first time being on Youth Wednesdays.
Oh, so welcome to Youth Wednesdays.
Thank you.
So, for my benefit, and perhaps my co-host and all of viewership, just tell us a bit about yourself and what you do and why you're here this morning.
Well, as you said, Aisha Mcnite. My company is Knights Analytics. I started my career doing data collection with the Central Statistical Office. And because I'm very curious and love to learn, I started venturing into finding out the patterns and numbers behind the data that we are collecting. This led me to data analytics, data science, and then into AI. So that's why I'm at now. I have managed teams across transatlantic teams because I have persons in Nigeria. I have teams across the Caribbean for data collection, for research, for things like that. And also here in Tobago, I've done a bit of training and data management. And also, I also do research behind a lot of papers, academic and otherwise, for several persons.
Wow. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing with the viewers and myself.
That's a lot.
And you recently attended the Caribbean AI conference in Antigua, as Dwayne mentioned. And the theme was Bridging Digital Frontiers, AI Innovation for Caribbean Sustainability. What was the energy like being around regional change makers like yourself?
Oh, it was an enriching energy. It was very vibrant energy. You had so many persons, and not just from the Caribbean. There was one presenter who traveled 26 hours from China to get to us. And it was so enlightening to see what is actually being done in the world and to hear how we in the Caribbean can actually bridge that gap and come up to the rest of the world.
And in practical terms, what does that mean for us here in the Caribbean? How are we going to implement some of these things that you would have learned?
The first thing we need to do is to get policies in place. So we need that buy-in from the government, policymakers. We need to get persons educated on AI and its uses and the opportunities that are there. Right now, there's a lot of negative talk, and people are in fear. Yes. So and I'm here to say there's no need to be afraid of it. This is something that is happening. This is the 5th Industrial Revolution. So we need to get on board as soon as possible.
What are the woes of not getting on board? You know, I looked at one of the flyers and it spoke to accelerating AI use case adoption using governance as an enablement.
Governance as an enablement just simply means us putting all the policies and the things in place for governing AI in every aspect, whether it's use within education, use for businesses, use for young people, whatever it is, but just having systems in place to govern the use and to put data centers in place, data management, to increase our energy, because having data centers and doing a lot of data management for AI uses a lot of energy. So having energy sources available outside of what we have now in order to be able to, and having reliable internet access. We need to talk to our service providers.
Certainly, because for some reason, at the micro level, they are seemingly lagging behind. At the conference, perchance, you know, being Caribbean is made up of small island developing states. And, you know, one of the challenges of small island developing states is the fact that because we are so small, we are lagging behind the metropolitan countries where technology is concerned. How did the conference address these long-standing issues? And how can Tobago, being the smallest of the lot, champion this initiative and catch up with the competition?
Tobago, what came out of the conference is developing a community among the Caribbean islands. Just as we have CARICOM, develop one community to deal with tech and AI, to deal with tech and AI and all of that. And Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago needs to be a part of that conversation, needs to have a seat at the table in order for us to progress, because Antigua is already ahead of us. They have already developed, they have had a paper on their policy and where they're going forward in that and where their gaps are. Jamaica is ahead of us. They're already doing a lot of things. Even St. Vincent and all these countries, these islands are ahead of us. So we need to definitely catch up and educate our people and get our people on board. Because the threat is I know a lot of people say AI is going to take over all your jobs.
Oh, I'm coming to that.
AI is going to take over, but that's not the truth. To be honest, it's probably 1% of jobs will be lost with AI. But what is going to happen is that the people who don't know how to use AI or don't know how to work with AI, they are going to lose their jobs.
I have a question for you. It's going to sound very facetious, right? But, you know, we are quite a traditional, quite, you know, religious.
And that's the challenge with all Caribbean countries.
Right. So my question is, the mark of the beast. You know, the whole thing, the AI is coming, you know, is the mark of the beast. You know, it's going to take over your jobs, it's going to take over the church, it's going to take over your governance, and so and people who create AI, they wouldn't be able to control it anymore. How can we assist the you know, the mindset of our citizens?
Change is hard in any industry, right? And for us, our mindset needs to change, just as we had, we were moving from cars to, we have different types of cars now. So we have engines, we have electric, we have self-driving cars now. So just as those changes happen, this is another change that is going to happen. So we need to set our minds on the fact that change is inevitable, and position ourselves as individuals, as businesses, as teachers, as young people, to take advantage of the opportunity rather than sit back and, because AI doesn't work without us.
True.
We have to put in that information. We have to feed it. And you can't get that personal touch that we can give from AI. Yesterday I posted a video in China, they use robots to play football. And you're seeing them.
Never watched that.
And you're seeing them actually lifting the robot on a stretcher off the field. And I laughed at it because I'm like, come on. I mean, we could take it anywhere, and that's the opportunity that we have. A lot of people know about ChatGPT, but there are so many others that you can actually use to help you and to make your life easier. What I teach is prompt engineering, because your response is as good as your prompt.
Yes.
Correct.
Right? If your prompt is not worth it, you will get an answer, just a generalized answer.
Correct.
And I'm also working on something for students to help them with their studies. So there's a lot of things that can happen for AI. We just need to grasp the opportunities. There are a lot of things that are already out there. We just need to tailor it to us in the Caribbean, in Tobago.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, was there any projects or innovative ideas that were presented at the conference that can truly transform the Caribbean and here in Trinidad and Tobago?
There were, there's a lot of talk on education in AI. You know, you're looking at the ethical side of it, because we have persons using ChatGPT and other AIs to write their entire paper. We had community tourism was something I saw presented, where a community in Jamaica was geotagged and their geodata was locked, and they got to do, you can virtually see the community from the UWI Mona campus. Put on your VR headset and you go into Sizzler Studio, you go into different places within the community. And that was a community project. The community bought into that project. The persons in the community championed that project. And so that is something that we could look at here in Tobago. Persons could be anywhere in the world and paying to see Castara Beach, paying to swim with with the stingrays. You know, as I said, I went ziplining in Antigua just through the VR headset. I mean, it was exciting time. Even when we looked at persons who are disabled or differently abled, there is technology out there to help them. One of the presenters spoke about him actually seeing using our glasses, ordering off his menu using our glasses. And he said when he ordered, I think he ordered something fantastic, lobster and whatever, and his wife said, you know, that's expensive. He said, yes, I can see that. You know, so it was just so enlightening to see all that is actually happening. And for the Caribbean to come on board, there is room. but we just need to take advantage of the
And I'm
opportunity.
happy you mentioned people being able to see in another country from VR and stuff like that. And here in Tobago, being a primarily tourism island, I think that would be important for us to also implement that here in terms of AI and using that to boost our tourism sector as well.
It is important, and the good thing is that when I spoke to the person who did the project, and they are willing to partner. They are willing. She said, and she's a Trinbagonian as well. So she said, Aisha, you know, I'm willing to come and partner. We'll organize funding. So I'm willing. I'm here, and I have the connections. I spoke to the person. So it's just to partner with NGOs to get stuff done. But I don't want us to be afraid of getting this stuff done. We need to put ourselves out there. And again, that was the conference was about, bridging that gap so that we're not as far behind as we are right now with AI and the rest of the world.
Okay, I want to thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of our interview.
No
Time
problem.
just flies when you're making sense and talking nonsense. You know.
That's true.
But I want to thank you for bringing this, bit of information to us. I do hope that, we give you another opportunity. There are more opportunities where we could delve further into AI and its uses, and especially coming out from the conference and so on. So, guys, this was Miss Aisha Mcnite. Tell Brian I said hello. And you do. Thank you for gracing us with your presence this morning, guys. We're gonna go straight into a break, and we're gonna have one more interview for you this morning. We're gonna tell them to do what, Renessa?
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me rum my shit. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Take out your flag and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up. Fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, hey, hey. Start to jump up and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are here with our final guest for this morning, we are with Miss Kadisha Thomas. She is our Performing Artist of the Year. We are so happy to have you here in studio with us.
Thank you so much. Good morning to Tobago and Tobago Updates viewing and listening audience.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be Performing Artist of the Year?
I'm still overwhelmed by the win because I didn't anticipate winning the award. Right? I didn't know anything of the award until I was nominated, and I had to kind of do some research and kind of get some information as to what the award is about, what the organization is about. And when I found out what it was about, I was like, oh. So I'm very much grateful.
Yeah. So are you excited about the win or the wind? Because they seem to have a correlation there. And what brought you to this victory?
So again, the win is something that again I did not anticipate at all. Because once I saw the nomination, I shared it. And I was like, but who nominated me for it? So I started asking, my circle, and then I started asking other persons, and when I found out who it was, I was very much...
You cried?
I didn't cry. I'm a smiley kind of person, so I smile all the time.
Whole morning in here.
So I didn't cry, but I was very much grateful to know that I met this person when I went to the Bridgetown International Art Festival in Barbados. I met him, and when I found out about the nomination, he told me, I saw your work and that kind of thing, and I felt as though you were deserving of it.
And it just goes to show that when we're in spaces and we show up as ourselves to the best of our ability, there are people looking on and who would put you in these spaces to be able to receive these awards. So I just want to ask you to walk us through your journey as an actor and a coach. How did your journey begin?
My journey began way back, I think, within my family, Christmas time, that celebration, just enacting and doing little short skits of the family members, and then it kind of transitioned into Carrie Festa in primary school, and then I went on to secondary school in Drama Festival, and then from there I did business studies first, and then I decided I'll take on acting full time. So I studied at UTT, and then from there I kind of find myself in different spaces where I could continue to journey. So I, after graduating from UTT, I went on to do acting. I auditioned at Yale and I got through, but because of COVID, it had to be deferred. And then because COVID took so long, I had to kind of just do it over. So, but by the time that came about, I saw the audition ad for TPAC. So I auditioned for TPAC. I worked at TPAC up until recently because I'm a former resident of the Tobago Performing Arts Company. And I just continue to kind of make myself very present in any artistic space.
Yes, and I've been privileged to witness you in some of these spaces, working with TPAC as well. I've seen some of your performances, and it is well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have to speak after this, I want to, your insight on a project that we are doing. But speaking about projects, what are some of your most recent projects? Because it's my first time meeting you, and we need to know what this young lady is about. So
some of my most recent projects would be working with DNA Productions. So I was the head coach for Tobago's first installment of it. We produced our first film in March, and I was now moved to Trinidad to do the Porter Spin classes, the children classes, as well as the level 1 and level 2, as well as I was the writer and director for the Reigning Miss Larenve for Tobago, Miss Rachel Cattell, and I worked with one of the heritage, I think is the second runner-up, Kina.
Okay.
I worked with Kina for her talent, and this year I am working with a finalist.
Yes, you don't have to mention.
I'm working with a finalist for the Calypso Heritage Monarch, as well as the Miss Heritage Personality.
Your work has taken you to many places, all the way to this award. What inspiration would you give to those in the creative sector, because it seems to be a sector that is fluctuating. One time we're up, one time we're down. There doesn't seem to be any consistency. Is it possibly because of our small nature? But what encouragement do you want to give to those creatives in this sector? Who may not be necessarily into your field, but like other fields in the creative sector. What encouragement do you want to give?
Just keep at it. Keep at it and be honest in what you're doing, because it's very easy to fall into the limelight of the fame and you're wanting all the accolades and that kind of thing. But just do the work and everything else would fall into place, regardless. And it have plenty feeling. It have plenty feeling. But once you love it, at some point the breakthrough would come.
Yeah, I just saw one of your clips there, where you were into your thing. What does it take to get that level of confidence and to get to that point, where you're seeing yourself and you don't have to put on a facade, to portray your work. Just walk us through
being
that.
true to the topic that I choose, being true to the characters that I play, and just being honest about the whole process. Whether it be bad or good, once I'm consistently honest throughout the whole process, I decide, honesty, regardless, staying with the truth of it, and the execution.
I want to ask, what's your next project, but let Renessa.
So what do you think is one of the most misconceptualized things about being a creative, not just here in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the Caribbean at large?
It could only be done as an extracurricular activity.
And I think Dwayne touched on that when he asked about what it's like to be a creative, and sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. So what do you think it's something that our government or even the creative spaces can do to ensure that we also feel as though we are important and what we are doing is worthy of the compensation that we require?
The we for me. Is the we for me, Yes, guys.
I feel as though it needs to be introduced into the school curricular systems, right? I don't think it should be an after-school program all the time, because there are children who may not be as great in the maths and the English and that kind of thing. Not all the children want to be lawyers and doctors, So from the time you realize you have a creative in your classroom, try to reach them with their talent through the subjects.
And I really appreciate you saying that as well, because that's also one of my personal beliefs, where our young people, everyone is not academically inclined. Yes, maths and English is one of the requirements going forward and you go out into the world of work. But there are some really talented young people, and they just need that space to hone the gifts and the abilities and the talents.
Unfortunately, they need to give us 2 hours in a Renaissance. Right, 45 or 50 minutes per guest. But we want to thank you for joining us this morning, and congratulations again to
thank you so much for having
laudable feat. Continue doing the great work. We will speak after this show.
Most definitely.
Thank you very much. So, guys, unfortunately, this brings us to the end of Youth Wednesdays and Tobago Updates Morning Show. Thank you, Miss Ortiz, for gracing us with your presence this morning and bringing this light and special element. I look forward to working with you in the future.
I look forward to it as well.
Yes. So, guys, this brings us to the end of Youth Wednesdays. We have to tell them to do one thing.
Share the life, share the life, share the life.
Over to Good Morning Tobago.
the strength of our resilience towards disaster preparedness and the strength of our resilience to the impacts of climate change, while it is grounded in our capacity and our capability in terms of our responsiveness, the resources that are available to us, while it is indicative as well as of our technical capabilities and how we are trained to prepare. But I want to tell you this morning that our resilience is also grounded in the fact and also largely dependent on how much we can collaborate with each other.
But when we look at our landscape, on our inner cities and also our rural communities, they are highly vulnerable to hydrometeorological events. And therefore it's important for these stakeholders, our stakeholders, to understand exactly what is happening with the hydrometeorological impact on our exposure. For example, our coastal community, our slope failures, fallen trees, our utilities, and what is going on with our infrastructure. We have seen where funding has become a major issue in terms of rehabilitation and recovery. And therefore, I think it is necessary for all of Tobago to understand the importance, therefore, of resiliency. And this session will allow us to have a true picture as to what is exactly happening, not just the negative, but also how we can merge our resources together.
One of the things that we're looking forward to is having pods in every community so that when a disaster hits, they're not looking at Speyside to get a chainsaw. They would have it within their own community. They'll be able to respond to their own community emergency response. So another thing, as Dario was mentioning, was making sure that we know who are the vulnerable within our community, where is the loose roof that's in our community, so that we know even beforehand how we can address these issues.
I am a returning national. I recently came back to the island, back in April, and I wanted all the information that I could get, really, because I'm worried about what I don't know. And so far, it's a lot. So it really is about the information so that I could be prepared for what is to come. I'm so glad that I'm here, and I already picked up a few things that I need to actually learn some more about. So I think they're absolutely vital.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Channel Felix, and you know whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have Well, I asked those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. A final order was passed on by Magistrate Heather Seal of the Trinidad and Tobago Industrial Court in the matter between the 13 fired employees of the Tobago House of Assembly. The ruling, dated June 30th, 2025, ordered the THA to fulfill April 30th, 2025 judgment of compensation that was awarded to the 13 employees who were fired following the change of administration in 2021. The ruling stated that though the THA filed an appeal in the matter, it failed to file a stay of judgment. The court ordered the THA to make full payment to the employees by September 30th, 2025. The terminated employees were awarded compensation for outstanding vacation leave, gratuity, and payment for the remainder of their outstanding respective contracts. Additionally, People's National Movement Senator Melanie Roberts-Rajman labeled the sitting UNC administration as hypocrites during her presentation in the Senate yesterday. Speaking on termination of over 10,000 CPEP workers, Robert Rajman said she was both bothered and hurt by the government's decision. She alleged that the government intended to spite who they thought were P&M contractors, leaving thousands of households on the breadline. She further criticized the government on the supplemental allocation for Tobago during the mid-year budget review, highlighting that Tobago receives 1 cent only on every dollar spent in Trinidad. And finally, in an abrupt change in the long-standing policy which provided security protection for former prime ministers up to 3 to 6 months for presidents after demitting office, the security detail attached to former Prime Minister Stuart Young was withdrawn with immediate effect. Yesterday, during a walkabout in his constituency in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, the officers of the TTPS Special Branch Unit attached to Young were informed of their reassignment. The officers immediately took leave, and the former Prime Minister was reportedly left without transportation. Former Prime Minister Dr. Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has confirmed that his security detail was pulled days earlier. And that was on news in 90 seconds. Guys, we're going to take a quick break here and we'll be back right after this.
The energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong.
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe Land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Start
welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Again, I'm your host, Chanel Felix. This morning we continue our conversations and we're talking about all that there is to do for the kids and the youths during this summer vacation. This morning I have the privilege of chatting in studio with, well, one of my colleagues, Lavian Cupid, the program coordinator for Girls Growth Collection 2025 for teen girls. Now, Lavian, you are no stranger to camps. You are what we would call the camp guru, right? Right. So over the Easter period, you would have coordinated that camp at the Pigeon Point Heritage Park. And you have done a number of camps for kids. And, you know, this summer is no different, but you have focused particularly this time around on young girls. Tell us about what's happening with the Girls Growth Summer Camp.
All right. So, as you said, I have been in summer camps for quite a few years. I started off in 2014 and I stopped right before the pandemic, but I really focused on primary schoolers, preschoolers and primary schoolers then, ages 3 to 12. And as you did mention, recently Pigeon Point Heritage Park had their Easter Kids camp, and they reached out to me because they were looking for a coordinator. I had a fantastic time for those 2 weeks coordinating that camp with those kids down there. And so just looking at the landscape, looking at all that there is to offer, there is a lot for primary schoolers, and preschoolers will also fall in. But then we have our teenagers at home with not that much to do. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I would have loved to include something for teenage boys. And I actually did start having a conversation with someone quite prominent here in our Tobago space that has worked with teenage boys to have something done, because we can't have them home doing nothing. And so that is how Girl Growth 2025 collection came about. So Girl Growth 2025 collection is aimed at preteens and teenage girls, or all girls that are either entering secondary school from September or already in the secondary school atmosphere. Yeah. So it's going to be a plethora of activities. We are talking from mental health on the high school playground to basic skills like baking and cooking, making a pot bake, simple things like that, to beauty tips. Of course, we're going to do beauty, we're going to do healthcare, we're going to do physical activities. We're also going to be doing a tree planting activity that I am really, really looking forward to. It is more of a holistic program. It's not so much, I think a lot of times we focus on the etiquette, you know, how to walk, how to talk, which is important. I live by how you dress, tell people how to address you. I live by girls should be seen and not heard. Heard when it is important. Of course, we must make our voices heard for the matters that concern us, but not in the, as our grandmothers used to say, loud and braggadocious, but learn how to carry about ourselves. So of course we're going to be focusing on etiquette a lot as well. You know, a simple thing that I saw recently, I saw a video with a teenage girl coming out of a vehicle for her graduation. And it was so unfortunate that no one showed her how to properly come out of a vehicle, because, you know, her dress had a slit and she put one leg out and then the other leg out, and then we were out of the vehicle. So there are so many simple things that we can do to help our young ladies better be able to grow into the lovely, well-rounded, articulate young women that our society needs. And so that is what Girl Growth Collection 2025 is going to offer.
Excellent. And so where would the camp be hosted and how can persons register?
All right, so our venue right now is to be announced. It is definitely going to be in the Scarborough area. We've reached out to Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and had a conversation with him, and he has given his word that he's going to help us get a location in the Scarborough area. We're trying to centralize it as much because we want the girls from the countryside. Everybody know I'm a Roxborough gal. So I want my country girls to be able to come down, and also obviously to be able to facilitate the girls right around the Scarborough area as well, right? So it's going to be in the Scarborough area. It's going to be between, the date is the date will be from July 4th to 15th. From August 4th to 15th, apologies, it starts in August. All right, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right, and it's going to be facilitated by myself and co-facilitated by Aisha Mcnite. She was on earlier this morning. She is the managing director of Knights Analytics. She does data collection, and she's also venturing into AI in the Tobago space. So all things AI, I know it's Aisha Mcnite at this time. And also co-facilitated by Kathleen Alexander. Kathleen Alexander is a duty manager at the Airports Authority and a very good friend of mine. Both ladies are very good friends of mine, very educated and well articulated and well-rounded ladies that I know would inspire greatness into these young girls. And she's also a qualified teacher as well. All right, but we will have other ladies there with us as well that would be helping us manage the girls and help us manage the activities.
Right, and this camp costs only $700. How would that $700 be broken down? Because I see that you have payment plans available for parents who would require that.
Right, so our payment plan is in two parts, $350 on or before the 10th of July, and the last $350 by July 31st. Yeah, so we break it up into two parts to help parents, because we also know that you have books to buy and stationery and all of that to get it, and food, a lot of food, because we know the kids eat a lot when they are at home. All right, but also included in the camp, we will be offering a light refreshment. So the girls will get a sandwich, fruit, water, juice every day. All right, you could give them a lunch if you so desire, and you could also give them snack as well. That would be just fine, but we will be providing them with something light.
Excellent. And so again, tell us when the registrations are open and when they will be closing, and what age groups are welcome to participate in the camp.
Sure. So registration begins from today. I would also give my phone number. The phone number is also on the flyer. It's 3750901. And we will also be sending out the Google registration form. So you register and you have by the 10th of July to make your first half of payment and secure the spot. It's not going to be that many girls, so you definitely want to secure your spot. You want to make sure that they are able to participate in all the offerings that will be there. And I mean, as I did mention as well, it's preteen and teen. So for all the girls that are going to be receiving their SEA results tomorrow, congratulations in advance. Come on out, parents, send them out, send the girls out, because I think, Chanel, sometimes we don't take into consideration that the secondary school playground and the primary school playground, it's a big, big transition. And gone are the days where our parents could just tell us, not be in a people's story, not go there and mess up in the people things, stay out of that has nothing to do with you. We take for granted sometimes that as a teenager, my friends' words kind of mean way more than what my parents are saying at home. As much as what my parents are saying is true and has solid ground, what my friends saying affect me more. And so we have to be able to prepare these girls to transition from primary school into secondary school. No longer could we say, stay out of that. Stay out of that isn't going to work, because I think we know that sometimes children go to high school and they go to school every day and they live a whole Santa Barbara young and restless life that we don't know about. Sometimes even bold and beautiful that we don't know about, right? And so we must give them the tools to be able to navigate high school. And taking into consideration, come on out, there are going to be some girls that are already going to the schools that they would have passed for, and networking is important. You know, one of the modules that I'm actually really looking forward to is the strength of sisterhood. I am so tired of hearing that woman's worst enemy. And though we will never live in a time where that is never true, we could live in a time where it gets better. Because there's so much strength in sisterhood. And so we are really going to be delving into that. We're also going to be delving into the importance of reading. I mean, I'm an avid reader. And so I love to see young people with a book, flipping pages, creasing the top still. I still do all of that. And so I want to impress upon these girls that reading, sharpening your mind, doesn't matter what you're reading, continuously throughout your life. Taking care of your body, taking care of your skin, the way you appear, the way you speak, the way you stand on your no. all these things are so important, because sometimes we don't teach our young girls that your no is complete. And anytime somebody questions your no, they're disrespecting you. Come now. No, I said no once, and that is what it is.
Excellent. I'm really happy to hear all that you're doing with these girls, Lavian. I'm excited. And I would be sure to recommend the Girls Growth Camp to all young ladies that I know. And that's 700. And as she indicated, there are payment plans available for parents. So you can pay that $350 and
yes, $350 by the 10th of July, and then the
$350.
final $350 by the 31st of July. We start from the 4th of August to the 15th of August.
Now, it's so important, the things that these young women are going to learn at this camp, because a lot of the things you think you just are supposed to know. You think that they're just supposed to know hygiene. They're just supposed to know how to speak in a public or a social setting. You think that they should know how to sit, how to stand, how to, interact with the opposite sex. But the truth is, a lot of parents have not been equipped with the tools to give these young women the training that they need to really flourish when they go out into society and when they flourish in high school and in other social settings. And so this is a great foundation being created for preteens and teen girls. Are you connecting with the Division of Education to have them send the invitation out to principals to see if they may be interested in sending?
Not so far, but we are going to be looking at that. But we have connected with other divisions, for instance, the Division of Health, so that we will be able to get practitioners to come in to speak about their bodies and to feel comfortable with the female body. And besides that as well, we also reach out to major brands, for instance, Always, female, help me out there.
Menstrual
Thank you very much. Yeah, are going to be partnering with us. And yeah, so the girls are going to be receiving quite a few tokens and for each one of the activities. I mean, even one of the activities I'm looking forward to is journaling, and how important it is to write down your thoughts as well. Yeah.
Very much.
Yes, indeed. Journaling is definitely some good tea right there. Yeah, and how important it is. And so there are so many activities that we are going to be doing that are pertinent to their development and them just flourishing in that environment. And, also being able to encourage them that when they get into high school, because sometimes you're so shy or you're not too sure where to fit in or you just want to be cool, but there are so many activities in the high school space that sometimes we miss out on, like joining the debate club. That is going to, a talker like me, I didn't miss out, right? But even if you're not going to end up like a professional talker like us, it is going to take you places, because you might have to do some public speaking for whatever profession you get into. And so you would want to take part in that. You might want to join Rotary Club. I want to teach them the importance of networking and building relations, because the world is all about relations. Sometimes you hear people say, "God, I can't stand people," and agreeably so, sometimes you can't. But life is about people and how you navigate social settings. You have to be able to navigate people, and you have to be able to learn when to turn off people, but never think that you can live on a rock by yourself, because when you work, if you're sick, if you're up, if you're down, if you're happy, if you're sad, it is all about people. And so people skills and being able to know how, when, where, what is very important. And so we're definitely going to be diving into that. And also taking care of your body, what you put into your body, what you put onto your body and to your skin, dressing and what is suitable for certain occasions and what is not, and what should not be done at all as a young lady. How social media could come back to haunt you many years from now. Yes, definitely. That will definitely be discussed as well. Safety on social media, predators on social media. All those things are going to be discussed.
Excellent. I am so proud of you, Lavian.
Thank you,
I think this will be a really good hit, and I hope that you can partner with the Division of Education to have those principals recommend some of their young girls. Because, even as teachers, they often see young girls in school, on the school compound, that they may believe may need some guidance.
Agreeable.
And so I think that they are the perfect target audience for this camp. And I hope that they do come on board to assist and have young women come and patronize the camp. So we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning, and we wish you all the best with the Girls Growth Camp for 2025.
Thank you so much.
Just a reminder to you, our viewing audience, this camp would take place from August the 4th to the 15th, and you can call 375-0901. That is 375-0901. If you are interested, recommend it to someone, a teacher, a principal, a student. You never know who might need it to help them get on that right trajectory for the life of the woman that they want to or need to become. So guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
You think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
a brand new dawning as the passion start to
keep us strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now this morning we're chatting a bit about what's happening in our news and in our headlines. Now we know that a couple days ago, actually on Monday, the amendment bill was passed by the independent senators who voted with the government in the Senate to ensure that that amendment for the pension to all past prime ministers was passed. Now we want to hear from you this morning. What do you think? Do you think that, that should have been done as it was done, as we know that the former Prime Minister Stuart Young would not be benefiting from that $1 million pension as we all know he would have gotten had he, because he was in office for a few days, right? So we are opening the phone lines this morning. Our number is 284-6597. And we want to hear from you. What do you think as it pertains to that change being made to ensure that he cannot benefit from that pension scheme? Do you think that that was a good move on the part of the government? Because we did have the independent senators also voting with government senators agreeing that indeed he should not be able to benefit from that. And we saw yesterday in a turn of events that his security detail was pulled while he was out on the field, while he was having that walkabout in his constituency in Port of Spain North and St. Anne's West. Without any notification, he had his security detail pulled and left there in the constituency without any transportation. And, situations like these, what are your thoughts on that? For many, it might seem quite humorous, but for others, it may not be. So we want to hear from you this morning. How do you feel about these turn of events as it pertains to what this new administration is doing? Now, we heard in the very early days from the Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, that in order to cut costs, security detail would be a huge portion of the cuts that would be coming. She indicated that for a lot of the times, that large amount of security is not necessary, it's not needed. And the amount of money being spent on security detail takes a lot out of, government funds. We want to know from you this morning, how are you feeling as it pertains to this situation? And a lot of persons are feeling like it's a direct target to Stuart Young, and it may be a bit of petty politics happening there. But we want to hear from you. Do you think that, even if you do support the administration, or you do support the People's National Movement, that fair is fair and taxpayers' money should not go towards paying someone who really only function in office for a few days to get an $87,000 monthly pension, when the average public servant struggles to even have their pension, to actually get their pension even after they retire. And for some of them, they can barely even survive off of the pension that they do have, having served the public sector for years. So we want to hear from you this morning. Again, our number is 284-6597. And we want to hear how you feel about that. We hear a number of persons on social media talking about the fact that even if his security detail would have been removed, that he could have been notified earlier, that he could have been given prior notice. Do you think that that would have been the best way to do it? We want to hear from you this morning. We will be reading the comments on our Facebook and giving you the opportunity to weigh in on this morning's discussions. But again, we're encouraging you to call us at 284-6597. That is 284-6597. You can join in on the conversation this morning. But until then, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversation after this. See you soon.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance. Our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Shore Park Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirrorball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louis, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios, and Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Shore Park Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl, get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up! It's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
OBO. Hey, I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump, cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me rum my shit. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out your flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up, fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, hey, hey,
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning we continue our conversations, and this morning we are chatting with Kelvin Morris, who is the THA Minority Leader and Area Representative for Darrell Spring Wim. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Felix. Let me say a special good morning to all of Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, and the diaspora.
Right. I mean, well, we are happy to have you in this morning. We know that a lot is happening in the PNM camp. A lot of screening, a lot of late nights, early mornings. How is that going?
Well, the PNM is quite busy at this time preparing for the upcoming THA elections. Of course, we are doing our screening, having the process that would have candidates available to their districts very early so that people can familiarize themselves with the candidates, etc. Of course, we would have been doing the introspection, doing, learning, lessons learned as well. And at this time, we have been publicly, saying to Tobagonians, we know we weren't perfect during the 20-year reign. Of course, 21 years is a long time. And not everything you would have done in retrospection and introspection would have, always been, perhaps there might have been a better way or an alternative that may have given you a better result. So in that way, we apologize to all of Tobago, anyone or any institution that at some point may have felt, hurt by the actions of the PNM. We apologize, and of course, we are looking forward to offer a PNM that is even better going forward in this upcoming elections.
Excellent. I mean, and before we dive into this morning's conversation, there's a lot happening on a national level. One of the things that we saw on Monday is, the vote that pulled that pension from previous Prime Minister or last Prime Minister, Stuart Young. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I agree with the PNM's position, which is, one that to point out that no law should be really targeted against any one individual. And it's unfortunate that, with all that the government have to treat with, that they would find time to really prioritize, disenfranchising one individual, and I guess ultimately that might find its way in the court, and the courts will have its say on whether it is constitutional or not.
Okay. And we saw that yesterday his security detail was pulled while he was out in the constituency. For a number of persons, they were surprised. Some persons find it, to be quite humorous, but to others, it is just a demonstration of, some petty politics. What do you think?
Well, I think when people voted for the UNC, when they voted for the slogan, when UNC wins, everybody wins, then you ask yourself, when you see actions like this, is this everybody? When you see over 10,000 to 11,000 CPEP workers, those are workers that are at the very bottom of, our income earners, etc., losing opportunities, losing their jobs, losing an income. It makes you wonder if sometimes, when people campaign, it's just about, fancy slogans, catchy words, and whether they really mean what they say. Because ultimately, if we're about governing for all the people, then we'll govern fairly, equitably, and ensuring that the best interests of all is served at all times.
But do you think that, the previous Prime Minister, Stuart Young, needs that level of security detail for functioning as a Prime Minister for only a few days?
Well, what I know is that in America, once you're a president, you're always a president, and you're always entitled to the benefits of the presidency, whether it be security, etc., etc. And, as far as I know, those kind of arrangements are based on special branch threat assessment, etc. So I really hope that it is not one that was politically influenced and it was one simply out of the special branch doing its work, because it would be unfortunate that a government could be so wicked, spiteful, and vindictive.
Excellent. But when we look at things on the THA level, you have brought a number of issues to light recently. Recently, you reintroduce the topic of that villa that was purchased by the TRHA. You did raise it last year, but you raised it again this year, and your concerns were that the information surrounding that acquisition was only released in 2025. Tell us a bit about, why you felt that that was necessary to bring to the public's attention.
Well, one is about how we manage scarce resources. As you know, in Tobago, whether it was the PNM or even the TPP, you would always have to make decisions based on what is available to you. And the first red flag for me was, why are we as a TRHA, where you have challenges providing for basic equipment, medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, and the likes, why would you prioritize a spend of over $20 million on a villa when you have alternative? As far as I'm getting it from medical practitioners, they are saying to me, what the TRHA is selling to the public is not the reality. There are alternative to where they want to do this oncology. There are already established places where they are doing the blue room and etc. So then why are we prioritizing that spend? And when you look at the process, there's so many other red flags. You have to spend over $2.5 million US because this is a foreigner that you are purchasing from. Where are we getting the US from? How is that going to come about? Then you have the media carrying a report where there was some transaction or attempted transaction between SPEL and TRHA. Is that legal? How is that also going to play out? And therefore, I am calling on the Chief Secretary. The Chief Secretary has a responsibility when things like this arise to have the independent investigation done so that we, the public, can be satisfied that whatever was done is above board. We are not casting aspersions, but we are saying there are things here to be checked out. And in this transaction, one as a Tobagonian who understand that we have scarce resources and we have a lot of basic needs not being met, can we do better with that money? And that is the question we really asking at this time.
And, even as you request that the Chief Secretary comes out and addresses Tobago on this matter, what do you truly expect to come out of it?
Well, ultimately, I just want transparency. We want to understand, because it is all about, ultimately about value for money. Are we getting value for money? Up to now, we have not even seen a proper analysis on did they do a cost benefit analysis to see what were the alternatives? How could we have saved? Was this indeed the best option? Did they even do an evaluation on the property to see if the property is actually worth what we are paying for? Because you would recall this property has been on the market for years. And therefore, one of the asks is, what was the issue why no one was taking it up in the first place? And is it that we are getting a good deal or a bad deal? And for us to come to that conclusion, we need all the information. You cannot keep treating Tobagonians as if we are fools. Tobagonians are learned people, very interested in how we are governed, and therefore share the information with us and let us come to a conclusion whether it's good or bad. But you cannot continue to deal in secrecy. The ambulance is another arrangement. We had to be prodding until we got a press conference. And even when you evaluate what was shared in the press conference to the actual details that is actually available, you recognize that a lot of the information shared does not add up. Because we were told with those ambulances, only 2 quotations came forward, and they were quite expensive, 1.4 million and 1.7 million. Only to learn from a whistleblower that they actually received quotations that were way cheaper than what we paid for this no-name ambulance. We received quotations from Amalgamated, $700,000. And the thing about it, it is a reputable branded ambulance is Toyota or Nissan. It is already being used, tried and tested in Trinidad, and therefore you also had persons, you had recommendations coming forward from the NCRHA saying that this is actually a very good ambulance that you can use, and yet that was bypassed to go and pay double the price for one, for a no-name ambulance that we are currently still getting a lot of issues.
Right. How do you respond to the Chief Secretary stating that it has been, it is an issue for the procurement regulator to investigate and not the THE?
The Chief Secretary is playing smart with foolishness, and he cannot now try to pretend that he's Pontius Pilate in this matter, because we asked him in the House as a question, Chief, this issue is in the public domain. Are you not concerned about this? And he said at that time he was not concerned. He's only now concerned because it is a public shame on his administration, because as I continue to say, and the facts will prove ultimately that this procurement of ambulances is but the greatest procurement scandal in the history of the THA. And I guarantee you, when the investigations completed by the ACIB and the OPR, when they are completed, I know I will be vindicated when I tell you that this is but the greatest procurement scandal.
And even as it pertains to, investigations surrounding this, do you think that you would, see any results coming out from this within the next year?
Well, I feel quite confident because people are coming forward. And, because people are fed up. People are fed up with seeing public funds being wasted and mismanaged, understanding that Tobago as an island can do so much better with the limited resources that we have. And even as personally for me, it's personal because I come from a family where I did not have much. And therefore, if we as a Tobago House of Assembly entrusted with the governance of this island, we must ensure that every cent that is utilized in the best way, the most prudent way to ensure that it redounds to the benefit of all Tobagonians, especially those who are poor and downtrodden.
Understood. We're gonna shift gears a bit and talk about that THA budget that was presented in the House recently. You gave your presentation there in the debate, but what are your overall thoughts as it pertains to that?
So for me, I'm quite disappointed because here we are again in an exercise in futility. And that is to say that we come to the House, grandiose plans and promises and projects costing billions of dollars, understanding more than likely we will not get exactly what we asked for. And yet we had an opportunity last year around October, I think would have been October or so. We had that opportunity where a bill was brought to the Parliament. And if it's one thing that bill would have solved once and for all for Tobago, would have been a predictable allocation, guaranteed. And here we are asking, begging, pleading, hoping to get 5.9% when we were guaranteed 6.8. The difference is appalling. Based on the Chief Secretary's and the Secretary of Finance projection of a $63.5 billion budget to come, they are asking for 5.9% of that, which is about $3.71 billion. I want Tobagonians to understand, had that bill passed, as imperfect as it might have been, what was guaranteed to Tobago would have been 6.8% of that $63.5 billion, which equates to almost $4.2 billion, which is a $571 million above even what the THA is now saying it needs to manage Tobago's affairs. And I want Tobagonians, so that is, we have actually lost by finally rejecting that bill, the ability to gain over $4.3 billion in the national budgetary allocation.
Understood. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this. See you soon. Aaron, we could get this thing fixed. Aaron. Now, we saw that the Secretary for Finance indicated that the request for 5.9% of the national budget, comes from a formula used as it pertains to the population share, and having that equitable share of the national budget based on Tobago's increased population size. What are your views on that?
Well, it's quite interesting that they're going to use population size when the reality is their friends in the UNC actually uses that as an argument to say Tobago is getting too much. They use the example of the corporations and municipalities and boroughs in Trinidad that are of a larger size in terms of population than Tobago that gets much less. So I am not too sure they will be able to convince their friends with that argument. I mean, if they get through, hats off to them. And this, I'm not saying that I don't agree that Tobago should, in fact, be getting 5.9. In fact, Tobago should be getting even more. I'm not saying, and I would hope that they get more. But what I'm saying is that the challenge is here you had the perfect opportunity, and I would continue to really live in regret that the Chief Secretary was so selfish in taking away that opportunity where we would have been able, and I want Tobagonians to understand what we have lost. We would not have had to be begging for 5.9%. We would not have been having to beg for a budgetary allocation of about 3.71. We would have been guaranteed over $4 billion. And here it is, we rejected that to stay in a position of mendicancy, which means that we are basically going cap in hand, hoping that we are given 5.9% of the budget. And even when you look at the argument, it just does not line up, because perhaps we are about 5% of the national population, but we're asking for 5.9. So then how do you justify the other 0.9 in the argument?
Proposed for health and 291 million for infrastructure. How do you feel about these allocations per sector? Do you feel that it's an over or underfunding of these particular areas?
Well, the first thing I would say, I am very concerned how the Tobago Regional Health Authority is managing the finances of the people of Tobago. And therefore, if we are to be giving the TRHA continued increase in allocation, the TRHA ought to account. I'm not too sure the last time I've seen an audited financial statement from the TRHA. And at this point, I think the fair thing with all the scandals, you have the issue of the incinerators. You have some CT scanners that we purchased since 2023 that is in the process of being installed for over 3 to 4 months now, and as far as I know, have not been installed as yet. You have all these procurement issues, and I believe at this point, to satisfy my appreciation for them getting more, what is required is an independent audit of the TRHA. Let some independent auditing firm come in, look at their procedures, look at their accounting, and let us be satisfied that they are the funding that they are getting, they are actually using it and applying proper accounting principles when it comes to those funding.
Okay. We don't have much time this morning, but I want to ask you about that mid-year budgetary review and the allocation for Tobago. I know you came out and said that, it was hypocrisy on their part to accept what was being offered. But now that you know that there is that loan being offered to Tobago as it pertains to, that coastal protection project, how are you feeling in the grand scheme of that mid-year reallocation?
Well, the thing is they're mixing water with oil because both cannot go together. That loan is a separate arrangement. And in fact, we have not yet received that loan. As the minister did indicate, they will attempt to accelerate the allocation of that loan, which we welcome, of course. But what Tobago got in the mid-year review, and that is the discussion we must focus on, is only $32 million, which is the least we have ever gotten from anyone. And, just before we wrap up, because we're talking about the budget, I don't want it to sound as though all the minority leader did in his presentation was criticized. We advanced some really innovative measures, especially for the young people, especially for returning scholars. I think for far too long, our young people who return from universities have to go through tooth and nail to find jobs. And we are saying under the next PNM, we will guarantee all our returning scholars employment in the areas that they have studied. We will ensure that as a policy, you who would have gone out and studied as a Tobagonian, you can come back and contribute to Tobago. And for the underskill, we will upskill you. You will earn while you learn, and together we will move Tobago to the next level.
How does one bypass the average HR policy to guarantee somebody a job because they have a degree?
Because it will be a targeted program for our young professionals and our scholars. So that program will absorb all scholars and then treat with where we place them according to their skills and according to their interests.
I'm hoping that this also means paying them industry.
Of course, they will be paid. We will be treating, for the first time, we will ensure that our young professionals, we don't get that brain drain where they come, spend a couple months, get frustrated, and then leave. We will ensure that they are properly treated, appreciated, and valued, so that they too can also contribute to the development of Tobago. Because you're a young scholar yourself. I came back and you come with the passion, and then after a time when it's not properly utilized, you get demotivated. Some people just go along with the system, and some people eventually just move away. And we are saying enough, that time for that to stop, and time for us to really ensure we retain our young scholars.
Right. And finally, as we close, what are some of your recommendations as to how this budget should have been presented as it pertains to Tobago's overall, development goals?
So I believe what I would have hoped for is more details, because what you heard was a lot of song bites, but it was very vacuous. There was no substance in how these things would, or what would be different, because what we would have presented and reminded our colleagues is that we have heard a lot of good plans, a lot of nice things, mega farms, the likes. And 4 years later, none of those things have seen the light of day. So don't just come to us and say we're going to do this. We want to hear what are your, perhaps just tell us, these are the 10 things we are absolutely going to do, notwithstanding. So whether we get 3.7 or whether we get 2.5, these are the 10 transformative projects that we believe can impact Tobago in a meaningful way. And this is how we're going to have it roll out. This is the funding that is required, and this is how we're going to prioritize and implement. And we didn't get that.
Excellent. We want to thank you so much for being here this morning. I want to thank you, our viewing audience, for continuing to make Tobago Updates your #1 choice. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing to make us the #1 broadcaster here on the island. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and thank you.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion starts.